Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of iCritic Live, where we talk about movies, pop culture, and life in between. I am your host, Kevin T. Rodriguez, the film critic of iCritic.net, and it is an awesome privilege for all of you to be here, all five of you, whatever. Hey, growing pains, right? So anyway, we are, well, first of all, we're doing something really different than we normally do because of the daily movie recommendation of the day that I have set up and is going great, by the way. Well, we might actually be doing this episode live while that video is going up. So that's going to be a new one for us. And the hypothetical Oscars that we do for the voice actors in 3D, I've decided to push that to tomorrow so we could actually talk about the actual Oscar nominations today. So if you don't see it up today, don't worry. It's coming tomorrow. And the Oscars, I really love the Oscars. I'm not going to lie. It's my Super Bowl every year. I could care less about sporting events and the Olympics, although I like the idea behind the Olympics. But I really love award shows. It's just fun. What can I say? And one of the things that's fun is when things are shaken up, when what you thought was a sure thing ended up not being a sure thing. And when you thought wasn't going to be a sure thing, in fact, some things you thought didn't have a chance in heck of actually happening, actually happened. So you know what? We are going to be talking about these nominations, the snubs, the surprises. And one of the first things we should get off the bat is what films lead. And I was very surprised to discover that Everything Everywhere All at Once led with 11 nominations. 11. It has the most nominations out of all of them. I've never once been convinced that it could win Best Picture. I knew that Ki-Kwan Ko, I don't know what his, I'm mispronouncing his name, I know. I felt he would win Supporting Actor, and I knew Michelle Yeoh would win Actress. At least I'm pretty sure she'll win Actress. I know Cate Blanchett's on fire, but she's also won twice, and it's kind of hard to get 3 Oscars from the Academy. So Everywhere Everything leads with 11 nominations. It might win Best Picture now. Another surprise, All Quiet on the Western Front and The Banshees of Inisherin lead with 9 nominations each. So first of all, we all know it's going to win Best International Feature Film now, but it's actually one of the leading films with the most nominations. I was kind of surprised Elvis wasn't leading with one of the nominations because Elvis got a lot of nominations, but it got a lot of nominations without a Best Director nomination. So anyway, let's talk about these nominations, and we're going to go down. We'll kind of go over most of the categories. I don't know if we'll go over all of them. But we're actually going to start with Best Documentary Short. And here is actually a first for me. This has never happened to me before when it came to the Best Documentary Short. I'm listening to the nominations, and then they say Stranger at the Gate. And I'm like, wait, I've heard of that. In fact, I've seen that movie. So Stranger at the Gate is a 30-minute documentary about a white supremacist who plans to blow up a Muslim church, whatever it's called. Is it a mosque? I don't know what it is. I'm sorry. But he plans to kill these Muslims, and they instead invite him in, and he gets to know them, and he changes his way and becomes their best friends. It was a wonderful documentary. I didn't know it was eligible. So for the first time ever, when they announced Best Documentary Shorts, I'd actually seen one. I'm not just going to be going to the Best Short screenings completely blind. I'll have actually seen one of them. So that is a new thing for me. Now, for the Best Live Action Shorts, I didn't see any of them. The animated shorts, I did see The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. That's on Apple TV Plus. By the way, you can watch Stranger at the Gate on YouTube, just in case you want to know that. But this Apple TV Plus short, that I had seen, and that's a well-deserved nomination. Haven't seen the others, but that has a pretty good chance of winning. By the way, the nominees got like a lot of laughter when they announced when the nominees was My Year of Dicks. And there was a lot of uncomfortable laughter. And then they just followed it with, an ostrich told me the world is fake, and I think I told you, like, what names? Like, this is why the shorts category can be so much fun. You get shorts like this, and you can't help but look and go like, what the heck are those? So I'm looking forward to that. So in the visual effects, you have Avatar's going to win. We all know Avatar's going to win. But They nominated Top Gun Maverick there, which I thought was strange, especially since it was admitted somewhere else. Black Panther Forever. Batman and Black Panther are competing in a lot of these categories. So there you have it. Now, the sound, that'll probably go to Top Gun. But, as you can see, the Batman's there. Elvis is there. You have the best score. Now, here's the thing. The music categories is where I was actually the most surprised by all the nominations. I actually think the Academy really screwed up in these categories. First of all, the original song is missing Taylor Swift for Carolina. It's also missing, more importantly, Ciao Papa from Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. And in fact, Pinocchio also did not get a score nomination. That I do not know how that happened. I don't know how Pinocchio did not get in those categories. That score and that song has been nominated everywhere. People love that score. They love that song. And neither of them got in there. Come on. Like that's ridiculous, in my opinion. What's also strange about original score, though, is that, Women Talk also didn't, or Women Talking, whatever it is, that didn't get a score nomination either. All Quiet on the Western Front did, but I didn't think that score was particularly memorable. The Fabelmans is not John Williams' best. I didn't think the score was notable for everything. So I don't know what's going on. At this point, I'm thinking, just based on this, Babylon has to win. Although I wouldn't be surprised if John Williams won as kind of like a career best, and depending how much the Academy loves the Fabelmans. So there you go. And for original song, just give it to Natu Natu from RRR. You might as well. I thought Pinocchio would have had a real shot at winning that one, but they didn't nominate it, so I guess it's Natu Natu now. The best production design, you've got Avatar, Babylon, Elvis, The Fabelmans, All Quiet. There's All Quiet there in a category I'm not sure if that should be there, but whatever. So then you have the makeup and hairstyling. I'm glad The Whale got in. If The Whale didn't get in for best makeup and hairstyling, I'd be a little concerned about Brendan Fraser's chances, because the makeup was half the performance. But there you go. Again, All Quiet on the Western Front down in there. It's like, why did that get in there? But I guess they weren't going to nominate Avatar there because Avatar is CGI for the most part. Yeah, the costume design. I actually was really happy to see Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris get in. That was a charming little movie. I'd actually seen one of the originals with Angela Lansbury, Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. So it's kind of nice to see that simple movie get a costume design. And that kind of makes sense because it's about a woman who goes to Paris to buy a luxury dress. So obviously the costumes are going to be really important in that movie. But yeah, I'm glad they didn't nominate All Quiet there, because I don't think the costumes were notable in that movie. They did nominate Everything Everywhere, which is interesting because most of the costumes in that were regular clothes. So that was very interesting. Now, here's what was a big snub, in my opinion. For cinematography, they did not nominate Top Gun Maverick. They nominated in visual effects, but not cinematography, which wasn't the cinematography something that was really key in that movie, like the IMAX shots and everything? Why is Top Gun Maverick not there? But they nominated Roger Deakins for Empire Light again, which, look, I love Roger Deakins, but it's kind of funny how he went from consistently getting snubbed to being almost overpraised overnight. He, for years, did not win a coveted Oscar. Then he won a couple Oscars, and now he's being nominated for work that is nowhere near his best, in my opinion. Nowhere near his best. Although I thought it was actually kind of cool that they nominated Bardo in this category, because it's like, yeah, that was an unsung hero of that movie. I thought the cinematography in Bardo was exceptionally good, but Empire of Light, Tar, these are two categories where you could easily swap out for Top Gun Maverick. I don't know what they were thinking on that one, but oh well. The best film editing, there's no complaints here. I think these are all good choices. Top Gun, Tar, Everything Everywhere, Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, all really good. Best documentary feature. The only one of these I've seen is Fire of Love. And so that was kind of cool that they about a couple volcano watchers. But I haven't seen the rest of these, so there's probably some Netflix stuff in there. Gonna have to check it out. Then we have the international feature. This is where another big snub was. First of all, I am going to say I am really glad EO got in here. EO was excellent and really loved that movie. Obviously, All Quiet on the Western Front, I think it deserves to be there. Where the heck is Decision to Leave? Look, I know we haven't done the top 10 best films of the year yet. We're probably going to do that next week when Rachel is back from Sundance, because I really like having her as a sparring partner, if you will. But spoiler alert, Decision to Leave is going to be on my top 10 list. And it's going to be very high up on that list. So the fact that it's not there makes me just go, whoa. Like, what the heck happened there? That seems like a pretty big snub to me. I actually thought Decision to Leave could have qualified for Best Picture. It was so good. Now, again, All Quiet on the Western Front. Now, that's probably going to win. I'll know why. And that was also really good. And like I said, EO was a very nice admission. It wasn't getting a lot of love, and it's like, man, this story about the donkey is so good. If I was to bump one, I'd probably bump Close. But Decision to Leave really should have been on this list. All right, so the best animated feature. Now, this really went according to plan, if you will. The only thing that was going to be a surprise was the fifth slot. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio thankfully did get it in. I was actually getting worried there because it only got one Oscar nomination when it was like, it could have gotten 6, in my opinion, but they gave it 1 because the Academy still, they still don't take animation that seriously. But I'm glad it's in there. I am still a little surprised that they were able to nominate Marcel the Shell with Shoes On with as an animated feature. But that said, that's a wonderful movie. So good on them for getting that nomination. And Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, totally deserve it. Turning Red, totally deserved it. But then the question was, well, what's the 5th one going to be? We couldn't see them doing Lightyear. Strange World made no impact whatsoever. For a while, I was thinking it would be like Charlotte or Wendell and Wild. Wendell and Wild seemed really obvious. But then they picked The Sea Beast. And I actually saw The Sea Beast in the spring, and it was like, I really enjoyed that movie. So it was like, oh, The Sea Beast. Okay, good. That's a good nomination. You know that Netflix is going to push Pinocchio, though, because it's like that. The Sea Beast has no chance of winning. That's the lucky to be nominated pick. But I really enjoyed The Sea Beast, so it was like that was a nice little surprise that got in there. Now, when you get to the writing, the original screenplay, you have The Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, Tar, and Triangle of Sadness. Triangle of Sadness did much better than I thought. Triangle of Sadness I have not seen, but there are people who are telling me don't underestimate it. It could sneak in there, and it's like, I don't know if it can, but there it is, and it snuck into another couple categories. Now, the adapted screenplay, and I'm going to be honest, like I've been predicting that Top Gun would win Best Picture for a while. I'm not completely sold on it anymore, but the fact that it got into the screenplay category means it's probably got a fighting chance there. So the adapted screenplay was All Quiet on the Western Front, Glass Onion, Knives Out, Mystery, Living, Top Gun, and Women Talking. And those are all good choices. The only thing I would do is I would swap out Living for Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. But again, they just didn't want to nominate that movie for whatever reason, and even though it's so loved. Now, the Best Supporting Actress race, not too many surprises here. Angela Bassett, she's probably going to win for Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Hong Chow deservedly got in for The Whale. Carrie Condon, The Band, she's Inisherin. And a double nomination for Jamie Lee Curtis for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Stephanie Hsu for Everything Everywhere All at Once. So good for both of them. I'm actually trying to think, like, what were some of the supporting actresses that did not get in potentially. Let me see if I can think of some snubs. So I am a little surprised that Janelle Monáe did not get in. Also, Jessie Buckley from Women Talking, I thought she had a pretty good chance. But otherwise, yeah. Those were definitely good choices right there. So so let's go to the supporting actor, and the supporting actors were Brendan Gleeson for the Banshees of Inisherin, and I've got very, very mixed feelings about that. I know he's been getting nominated everywhere. I don't consider that to be a supporting performance. I just don't. It's the co-lead, and I do not understand why he keeps getting nominated in the supporting category. I mean, he's the second main lead. I don't know what you want me to say on that one. So just anyway. Now here's the great surprise. Brian Tyree Henry for Causeway. What a good nomination that is. That is a very good choice. I really didn't think that was going to happen. He'd really not been nominated very much, and it was probably just too under the radar, I thought, for people to actually nominate him, but they did, and wonderful. By the way, Causeway is on Apple TV Plus if you want to watch it. Here's another great surprise. Judd Hirsch nominated for The Fabelmans, and not Paul Dano. And here's why I think, first of all, Judd Hirsch was excellent in that one scene he was in. He was excellent in that one scene he was in. But here's the other thing. Paul Dano is not a supporting actor in that movie. He is one of the leads. You know, it's Sammy, the mother and father. Those are lead performances in The Fabelmans. So not only kudos to them for not nominating Paul Dano in a fraudulent category, but kudos to nominating someone with one scene. That is a true supporting performance. So there you go. Now you have Barry Cogan for the Banshees of Inisherin. By the way, that is a supporting performance, and that deserves to be there. And then Ke Huy Quan. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. He's going to win, by the way. He's going to win. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to say something a little unpopular. I would have nominated Val Kilmer for Top Gun in this category. I thought that one scene he had with Maverick was very, very emotional. And, you know, I was a little surprised he wasn't in the conversation along the year, because I really thought the Academy would want to kind of give like a career achievement award to Val Kilmer. But I guess they didn't want to do that. So I would have nominated him, but there you go. Now you have Best Actress. So there's a couple surprises here. First of all, it's been mentioned. I guess I'll mention again. They did not nominate any women of color. Well, that's not true. There's an Asian Latino, but no Black women got nominated this year. And I thought the actress who was in Till, I thought for sure she was a shoo-in, and I don't think that lack of a nomination should have happened. She should absolutely be with this list. But there's another couple surprises. I mean, Kate Blanchett and Michelle Yeoh, they were expected. I wasn't sure if Michelle Williams would get in there. They correctly put her in the lead actress, but I think that performance was one of my least favorite aspects of The Fabelmans, if I'm being honest. It was kind of a little heavy swinging, if you will. Like, she's sometimes kind and cheerful, and then there's other times she's like really emotional. It's like I don't think that performance was especially good. So I would not have nominated her. And here are the two big shocks. First of all, Anna Damaris. I mean, she was great in Blonde, and she started to pick up momentum. But do you know how hard it is to get an acting nomination for an NC-17 rated film? I remember the year where everyone thought Michael Fassbender would win for Shame, and he didn't get nominated, and we all assumed, well, it's an NC-17 film. People haven't seen it. But here is Anna Damaris in an NC-17 rated film, and she gets a Best Actress nomination. Like, that is very, very impressive, and speaks not only highly to her work, but I think the availability of Netflix. I think Netflix is actually going to be the one to break the NC-17 curse, if you will, because You know how theaters and stuff won't play NC-17 films. People don't have those quorums watching them on Netflix. And once people start watching them on Netflix, maybe theaters will book a few more NC-17 rated films if the talent is big enough. You never know. So I am very surprised in a good way for that nomination. Now, the one that truly surprised me was Andrea Riseborough for To Leslie. She's got no nominations prior to this. I think her campaign was self-funded. She did her own grassroots campaign, and she got into Best Actress. So she will not win. She will not win. But hey, her nomination took the spot from that woman from Till or Viola Davis for The Woman King. So that's something to pay attention to. Now I guess I have to go see To Leslie wherever that is. Where is To Leslie? Is that streaming on anything? Well, I can rent it from Vudu and things like that. Geez, the box office was $27,000 and $27,322. That's it. Like, wow, where can I watch? So here's the thing. I can't just stream this. I'm going to have to rent it or buy it. And here's the thing, folks. Considering it costs $7 to rent and $10 to buy, I guess I'm just gonna outright buy the movie, and hopefully it's a good one. So yeah, that's probably the biggest surprise in the Best Actress category is Andrea. I'd never heard of that movie, and so but here's another thing that I like about the Oscars. When an Oscars nominates something like this, and I've not seen it, it's like it kind of is like, oh, okay, it makes me excited. Like, I gotta see this movie now. Let's see what this is all about. Now, Best Actor, some big surprises here. So we have Austin Butler for Elvis, Colin Farrell for The Banshees of Inisherin, Brendan Fraser for The Whale, Paul Mescal for After Sun, and Bill Nye for Leaving. So here's the first thing. Tom Cruise isn't there. I'm just a little surprised that that he didn't get in there. I just kind of was like, man, why not? I was also thinking maybe Tom Hanks could sneak in because people really liked A Man Called Otto, kind of like a last minute thing. It didn't work out that way. And Adam Sandler, I mean, that was kind of a long shot, but I was kind of hoping Adam Sandler would get in for Hustle. Instead, we have Paul Mescal for After Sun, which I have not seen that movie. Where can I watch After Sun? Oh, great. That's another one that you have to just buy, but unfortunately that one costs like $20 to watch. So I think I'm just gonna rent it on Redbox for $4. That's what I think I'm gonna do. But yeah, I've been hearing a lot about his this performance, so I'm interested to see that one. And I'm glad to see obviously that Brendan Fraser got in here. Oh yeah, by the way, supporting actor, I forgot to mention, I thought Brad Pitt would get nominated, but I'm glad that they nominated Brian Tyree Henry. Anyway, back to Best Actor. I'm still hoping and pushing for Brendan Fraser. No offense to Colin Farrell, but Brendan Fraser really deserves this. Oh, and by the way, Michelle Yeoh should also win Everything Everywhere All at Once. But Bill Nye, I haven't seen Living yet, but I've heard great things about it. Now I have even more reason to see Living. Now you go up to Best Director. Here's some more surprises. We have Martin McDonagh for The Banshees of Inisherin, the Daniels for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Steven Spielberg for The Fabelmans, Todd Field for Tar, and Ruben Östlund for Triangle of Sadness. That's the big shock. Triangle of Sadness really did come in and just break into the Best Picture race in a very small but big way. Now, there's a couple noticeable omissions from this. First of all, Joseph Kosinski, I think that's his name. He did not get nominated for Top Gun. And James Cameron did not get nominated for Avatar. Like, and you look at those two movies and how technical and hard those movies are to make, you kind of wonder, what is the Academy thinking by not nominating them? No offense to Todd Field or Martin McDonagh, those two could easily be swapped out with those two guys. I have not seen Triangle of Sadness, so I can't comment on that. But that almost makes me not take the Best Director award seriously this year. By the way, Steven Spielberg's going to win. I mean, they just want to give Steven Spielberg a third Oscar. So there you go. But yeah, the directors, what a disappointment that is. But now let's go to Best Picture. And the Best Picture nominees are All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar, The Way of Water, The Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, Tar, Top Gun Maverick, Triangle of Sadness. Again, that's the only Best Picture nominee I haven't seen. And Women Talking, a movie that got one other nomination. Okay, so obviously, personally, I'm very disappointed that Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio is not there. But once I was watching the nominations, I saw, oh, it didn't get a score nomination, didn't get a song nomination. Like, okay, it's toast. Like, it'll win the animated feature Oscar, but nothing else. That was the big disappointment. Otherwise, I would probably swap. I'm surprised The Whale's not in there. I really am. I think The Whale has more of a reason to be there than Women Talking. Top Gun Maverick is still in Best Picture, so it could still win Best Picture. I mean, it could win visual, sound, Best Picture, and editing. And okay, 4 Oscars for Top Gun, biggest film of the year, the movie that brought people back to the theaters. That would be a great story if you would. Otherwise, I don't think Avatar is going to win. In fact, I was thinking earlier this year that Avatar, it was in a much better position to win Best Picture than the first one. But I'm kind of wondering if they're going to do like a Lord of the Rings thing where it's like, well, we'll give it to them the third time around because we know there's another one coming. It's going to kind of wrap up a trilogy of sorts, even though we know there's a 4th film also coming. These movies tend to come in 3s, but they'd probably give it. I can't imagine them not giving any Avatar movie Best Picture after how successful they are for the industry. So, but they probably wouldn't do it this time. It's like, I bet you they'll wait for the third one to give James Cameron his long overdue 2nd Academy Award for Best Director and Best Picture, actually. So there's actually kind of a similar precedent for that happening. Like The Two Towers, Peter Jackson did not get a Best Director nomination for that, even though it was one of the best directed films that year. And then the third one came around. They're like, okay, yeah, we're going to give it to you. So anyway, that's that. Otherwise, I think Everything Everywhere All at Once is very well poised to win Best Picture at this point. All Quiet on the Western Front could surprise, especially with the war in Ukraine going on and the doomsday clock being changed to 90 seconds to midnight, which is the closest it's ever been. Maybe that will resonate with the voters. I'm also not going to rule out Elvis because Lisa Marie Presley just died, and that could create a lot of sentimental votes for it. And maybe The Fabelmans, if they just want to have like a Spielberg year, they could like, okay, give Fabelmans picture, director, and score. Then we're giving like Steven Spielberg a career best award. We're giving John Williams a career best award. I could see that happening on a sentimental level. I'm still going to stubbornly stick that I think Top Gun Maverick will probably win Best Picture, but we're going to have to see. It's especially since, it got a screenplay nomination, and I don't think the writing was necessarily the best part of that movie. But then it also didn't get a cinematography nomination, and that was one of the best things about the movie. So you just don't know. But anyway, that being said, those are the Oscar nominations. I'm kind of curious, what do all of you think of these nominations? And what were some of the snubs that you felt took place? And which ones would you actually vote for? So we're going to end the episode there. Remember, our hypothetical Academy Award nomination for the voice actors in the 3D will premiere tomorrow. And if you've been watching live, first of all, thank you for watching live. But also, I think the movie recommendation of the day went up while we were live, so you might want to check that out as we end. And I will see you later, and flame responsibly. Have a good one.